It's Amy from the Ross Farm, and this is episode 10 of Sheep and Wool School. And we are still talking about Leicester Longwools this week. I apologize profusely for a 2 week break in the action, but it was a little bit chaotic for the last 2 weeks. I will get into all of that in a minute, but just know that I really intended for there to be episodes both weeks, but we just weren't in town at the same time and it didn't come together. So, let's chat, shall we? So, on the wheel this week is my new Louet Jenn-E. I am getting to know it. I am really enjoying it. One of my favorite things, because if you're like me and you can never find an orifice hook when you need one, my favorite thing is this giant orifice because I can use the stylus point on the end of my Knit Girls pen, and this is something that I would use on my iPad or whatever, the little stylusy deal, and just a little bit of surface tension of that rubber tip means that I can put the leader on the back side here and just stick the pen in the giant orifice and scoop it right through. I don't have to go digging around for an orifice hook. I don't have to try to make something. I just stuck my pen in the hole and dragged it through. So I'm loving that. The other thing I'm loving is it's Irish tension. And I haven't spun Irish tension since I was a very new spinner. My first wheel was a Louet S10, and it was Irish tension, and it was really great at the beginning because it had a lot of take up. And I like to treadle really fast, and in the beginning of my spinning career. So I was glad to have that take up because it was not over twisting and turning into twine. So I'm really enjoying getting to know my new Jen E. She and I are good friends. And I love that all of this fits into the case that you can't quite see that's up there on the shelf. Everything packs up all together into an 8-pound package, and I can just put it on the back seat and strap it in with the seat belt and go wherever it is I want to go. So taking it back and forth from here at the studio to the home studio has been a dream. So I can get you one of these. I can get them sent directly to you, drop shipped to your house if you decide you want one. But I'm telling you what, I am really enjoying this. And as much as I'm enjoying this, it's getting to look very possible that I may sell off some of my other e-spinners because I really like this one. And like I I wouldn't I wouldn't lie to you about that. I'll tell you what I do and don't love about any spinning wheel I've got. I have mentioned a few of the things that have frustrated me about my other e-spinners, and so far this one's checking all my boxes. It's very easy to take apart and put together. It has a magnetic attachment here in the back where the shaft of the flyer goes in, and it just it comes apart and goes back together. This just actually clips in. So there's no strap to take off. I think I could probably swap out a bobbin on that thing in 30 seconds or less. It's just really slick. I'm very impressed. I understand it took them a very long time to come out with an e-spinner, but I think they did an excellent job. And I'm sort of glad that they waited as long as they did if it meant that it's going to be this functional and this maneuverable. I'm kind of thinking that this might actually go on the road with me a little bit this year when I go to teach. Um, Still trying to figure out how I'm going to take that on an airplane because I'm pretty sure it's too big to go under the seat in front of me, but I'm going to try to figure it out. So that's my on the wheel for this week. On the needles, I am The only thing I've been working on is my Shiny Squirrel, simply because everything has been so crazy and I've been the one doing the driving. So I knit about 2 more inches on it since the last time we were together, because there was only one small trip when I was in the passenger seat. So this is all I've gotten done on it. Yes, you can see it's coming along, but it's coming along slowly. So I've got like 3/4 of this ball to go, and then I have a whole other ball. So that's going to be a long-term project. Now, let's talk about Leicester Longwools, shall we? So everybody always asks me, like, oh, they're so coarse. Oh, they've got such a high micron count. Oh, I bet they're scratchy. I bet you can't make this, that, or the other thing with them because, oh, they're coarse wool, they're long wool. Ugh. No, you can make anything with Leicester Longwool, and I have. So, one of my favorite things I ever made with my Leicester Longwool was a Hitofude cardigan, one of the waterfall, floaty, kind of peplum bottom cardigans that was really, really popular 6 or 7 years ago. I made one of those, and my friend talked me into entering it in Maryland Sheep and Wool, and it had to compete with all of the other garments made with commercial yarns because the yarn is mill spun, not hand spun. So even though it was my yarn from my sheep and undyed, unblended, everything, it won. It got a blue ribbon at Maryland Sheep and Wool, and it's 100% Leicester Longwool, and that was kind of shocking. And when you get a blue ribbon at Maryland Sheep and Wool for your knitting, like, where do you go from there? I'm pretty much done. I've peaked, and now I'm just on the downhill slide. Actually, I'm thinking about knitting another Hitofude because it is such a versatile design with a new product that we'll be talking about later. So, all of that. So, my favorite thing about the Leicester Longwools is they are absolutely gorgeous. They're super sweet and docile, and I have made so many wonderful friends. The photo on the screen in front of you now is our ram. Um, this is my son with one of our rams. This one, I believe, was Atlas. We have a new ram now, and I don't remember his name, but this was Atlas, one of Drew's favorites. Jefferson, of course, was my favorite, but he really liked Atlas. And you'll see they have a long body, and they are built they should be built like a tabletop with 4 straight legs at all 4 corners right under them. And these are some Leicester Longwools that I actually met in the UK that belonged to a friend of ours. And when she called for them and shook the bucket, they came running like crazy. These are her older brood ewes, not her full fleece show sheep. So these ewes would be the ones that were getting bred for lambs in the spring. We were there in June, so they had already weaned their lambs. Here is one of their sheep. I believe this one was in Wales, and you'll see she is long and straight, and so is the baby. And the thing I love most about this one is the baby has a little bit floppy ears. Those will stand up a little bit more as he gets older, or she. I don't remember if it was a boy or a girl, but the green mark there denotes that that is a mother and lamb. So they make different marks in different colors on different animals so they can tell who's who. This is my favorite. This was Friend's Lambs this one wasn't in Yorkshire, it was just down the road. But she had this beautiful hillside pasture, and she raised both white and colored Leicester Longwools. And I haven't seen her since 2019, and I miss her terribly. So if anybody knows Jenny, tell her I miss her and I think about her all the time. But her sheep were absolutely gorgeous. And one of the sheep coming up in another photo will be of one of Jenny's sheep as well. This is not one of Jenny's sheep. This is a sheep that belonged to my friends Sonia and Alan, and we'll see Sonia in one of the photos here soon. But they are absolutely stunning. One of the things I love is that you just can't even see their eyes. They have such an amazing forelock of curls and those beautiful ears that stick straight out and have the darker pigmentation inside the skin of their nose and their ears. They're just so beautiful to me. This is one of Jenny's sheep, and this was my very favorite because you see the lupins behind her, and they were all on this hillside that was just full of blooming lupins. And it was just one of the most breathtaking sights I've ever seen in my life. And this is why I want so badly to take all of you on our sheep and wool tour of the UK, because meeting the sheep is one thing, but meeting the sheep in such a beautiful location is something totally different. These are more of Sonia and Alan's sheep. They were already shorn when we got there, these particular ones. So they just have the start of the ringlets. If you zoom in quick in a little bit, you will be able to see their beautiful fleeces as they're starting to grow back. I believe the one on, oh, there's Sonia. Sonia was showing us one of her show sheep in full fleece. This was a hogget fleece, so that means a hogget is a yearling, and all of that fleece had grown since this sheep was born the previous year. And I actually have the sheep's fleece here in the studio with me from um, from a sheep like this that Alan sent over to me, and it is at least 12 inches long, absolutely stunning, and I just absolutely love it. So you'll see I'm wearing my Leicester Longwool, my fangirl T-shirt today. Our Sheep Breeders Association did T-shirts. Actually, they do them every year, I think, but this was one of my favorites because it's pink, and you guys know how much I love magenta and pink, and so I had to have this one. But yeah, Leicester Longwools, they're just kind of amazing. And I hope that if you haven't worked with Leicester Longwool, you will definitely give it a shot. There are multiple forms of Leicester on our website if you decide you want to participate in our anything along, and knit, spin, crochet, weave, now bend, nearly anything, felt, wet felt, needle felt, whatever you'd like to do, tail spinning, whatever. That's why we call it an anything along. Whatever you want to do with the fiber counts. It's not just for knitters, it's not just for spinners, it's an anything along. So hashtag it anything along, and tag me in it, and all of my social media handles will show up on the screen momentarily so that you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So there you go. You can hit me on Instagram at Ross Farm or Facebook at Ross Farm Fibers. This is probably a good time to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It really does help us with the algorithms, and it helps us to have more people find us. So if you could do that for us, that would be great. You can also like us on Facebook or Instagram. But I just absolutely love the Leicester Longwools, and I loved going to visit them in the UK. They're a little bit different in the UK than they are here, and it's interesting to see the different fleece types between the UK sheep, the American sheep, and the Australian and New Zealand sheep. And you can almost tell by looking at them which lines you have in that particular animal. Here in the US, whether they were the imported UK semen or the imported Australian or the New Zealand semen. So, and the black, the English blue and the black is by far my favorite. So, I've been doing a little bit of sewing in my spare time. I am working still on the Snow Day Surprise. It's for the Polka Dot Pincushions 2025 UFO challenge. So I have the month of March to finish whatever project I designated as the number that was chosen that month, which was number 14, which is the 2023 Snow Day Surprise. And it is done in historic inspired fabrics. And I have done almost all of the components, and I'm just about ready to assemble the blocks. So next week, you'll definitely be able to see, that's the, those are the flying geese blocks that are part of it, as well as the 4-patch units that I also did that make the points on this, on the star. And those are the rest of the blocks that I just have to add one more side to them, and then they get attached to the flying geese blocks, because all of this has to be done by midnight on the 1st. And I would really like to finish it a lot sooner than that, because today is the 28th. So I'm going to need to put the spurs to it here pretty quick. You see my K-Facet Bernina, who I love so much, which brings us to our Sew Sampler box. I thought, since it came this week, that you might enjoy unboxing it with me. So all I've done so far is cut the tape, because nobody wants to watch me struggle with scissors on the podcast. So it is all ready to go. This is a monthly subscription box from Fat Quarter Shop. It's fatquartershop.com. And I get one of these every month. I pay for these, so this is not sponsored. If I hate it, I'm going to tell you. If I love it, I'll tell you that too. If it's kind of a mixed bag, we'll talk about that as well. So I'm really, really excited. I absolutely love these boxes, because it gets new fabric lines into my hand and inspires me to kind of step outside my box, so to speak, and do some projects that I probably wouldn't have done otherwise, because I'm pretty straightforward. I learned to quilt, I learned to sew and quilt starting at about age 4 with my grandmother Doris, and she taught me to quilt by ripping out a lot of what I did and making me do it again. So I pretty much, my comfort zone is the stuff that my grandmother would have done. A lot of 1930s and a lot of solids, and a lot of 1880s, 1890s, a little bit of 1840s. I really like the historic stuff. So this gets me working with some modern designers and some modern patterns and some modern prints and colors, because I really just like to do the stuff that reminds me of Graham. So let's get it open. Okay, so this month is called Spring Revival, and it's the March 2025 box, and it has a quilt along that's launching next month. It has a coupon code for a free mini cutting mat with purchase from Fat Quarter Shop, and it also has a another quilt pattern on the back here that you can download using a QR code on the inside. Now, each one of them comes with a little brochure about what all is in the box, and tells you the items that are in there, and gives you an approximate value as well. These are $39.95 plus shipping, and they are usually a $50 value or more. So it just depends from month to month what you get. So let's see what's in here, shall we? Oh, well, this is an Odif iron cleaner that is made in France and 100% recyclable. And it's kind of weird. It looks like a cake decorating set, but apparently you squeeze this substance onto a piece of, I don't know if that's paper or fabric, but you squeeze it onto there, and then you run your iron over it, and it cleans the backside of your iron. Now, I'm sure some people really, really love these, but they've sent several of these in the last year or two. And here's the thing. I don't tend to get my iron dirty, so I really don't need a ton of iron cleaner. So this feels like a filler to me. That I'm probably not going to use. That honest to goodness, if that's something that you could use, leave a comment and maybe I'll send it to you, because it's going to sit in my sewing room. And I've gotten to the point now, I was raised by children of the Depression, and you know, the whole vibe growing up was make do or do without, or or do without. And so I just really tend to hold on to things just in case I'll need them someday. But when you have more than one of them, I'm getting to the point where I don't think you need to keep them. So I don't know what this is, but it's coming out. Let's see. Well, it's got a USB cord, so that's interesting. And it has a tube and a brush. And it is, well, here's rechargeable desktop vacuum cleaner. Oh, hey, I was just thinking how much I needed something like this. So this would go right here. And that is exactly what I was thinking I was needing this morning when I was oiling my K facet, because I could really use something to suck all of the fuzz and threads and whatnot out of Kafe's insides. So that is a big win for me and very exciting. I was trying to figure out how I was going to rig up my shop vac to get in that teeny tiny space, and it was going to involve a lot of tape and some paper rolled into a cone, and you really don't want to know because I can MacGyver just about anything, so that's what was going on in my brain. Oh, look at this. This is attractive. It is a New Beginnings. It looks like a fat quarter bundle, I'm guessing, from Riley Blake Designs, and I'm sure the pattern that I'm about to pull out. Oh, and here is an Endurance Olfa rotary blade. So almost all of my rotary cutters, which I have multiple because they keep sending them to me, take the 45 millimeter blade, and these Japanese steel ones are absolutely, really quite sturdy. So this says it lasts twice as long, which mine tend to last me a year or more. So apparently I'll never need another one again. Oh, so this is a little card about the pink mini vacuum. And it says that you can use that to glide it over cutting mats, ironing boards, and more to whisk away lint, dust, threads, and fabric bits. So that I'm very excited about. Here is the pattern for the month, because every month you get some sort of a project. So we got this package of fabric, and we got the waterfall quilt pattern. So I don't know if you can see that, but it is very attractive. I would have put up a photo, but I didn't open the box because I was waiting for you. So this is, it turns out to be 56.5 by 68.5, which is a nice lap size quilt. Don't hate that. I tend to like bigger projects, so this I don't hate. And it has a waterfall New Beginnings 10-piece fat quarter bundle. So this is a 10-piece fat quarter bundle from the New Beginnings line, and I'm waiting to see who. It's not telling me who designed it. It says, but the writing is very, very, very tiny. I'm going to say Sandy Gervais, just based on the photo. I think it's Sandy Gervais. So it makes this cute little, well, moderately sized lap quilt, which I totally think that John and the Huskies are probably going to steal and want to snuggle under when the winter comes again, because it's almost spring in Northeast Ohio. We'll talk about that in a minute. So it has 10 fat quarters, and then I need 2 additional pieces of fabric, one for the background and one for the binding, and then some backing fabric. So now I will go on the hunt for more of this New Beginnings fabric line. Now, I can go onto the Fat Quarter Shop website and order a finishing kit, which will have the background and the binding. It will not have the backing, So I'll have to find the backing for that. But this is a really, really pretty tulip, and looks like tulips and dahlias. It's just really springy and pretty. So I think I'm going to really like that. I'm really in a very springy place right now. And then in here also is each month there is a different quilt along pattern. So the 2024-2025 quilt along was called Peaceful Baskets. So the number 12 block is here, as well as the finishing instructions to put the quilt together. So I haven't quite started that one yet, but now I have all the pattern pieces, all the patterns for 2024-2025, and I can zip through all of them, which I believe that is actually, poor planning on my part, on my UFO challenge for this year. So now that I have all the pattern pieces, it will work really well because I can just zip right through it. I don't have to wait for next month for another piece to come. So that is the March box for our Fat Quarter Shop sampler box. And I think everything, well, except for the ironing board or the ironing cleaner, I think everything was a big hit. So very pleased with that one. I thought that was an excellent value, and I will make sure that somebody who needs to clean their dirty iron gets the iron cleaner. Best I can do, I guess. So let's see. We did also pick up this week the backing fabric for the Snow Day Surprise, which I didn't happen to take a photo of, but it's a really cute historic print and sort of almost like hashtags. I'll put a picture in next week when I have the top finished and it's going off to the quilter. But we did pick that up at the cutest little shop that I love to go to in Navarre, Ohio, Navarre. It is down south toward Amish country, and there's a little shop down there called Anna Louisa's Quilt Shop, and they have a lot of historic prints. So when I'm in a historic print kind of mood, that's where I head. So I was really excited to go there yesterday and pick up the backing for the quilt that I'm hoping to have done in the next 3 days. So that's all for that. So I was talking before about how I wanted to knit another Hitofude in a different yarn, because the first one I knit was in white Leicester Longwool. So I think the second one I want to knit is in our newest yarn, which I'm putting up on the website tonight because I keep forgetting to do it. It premiered at Nash Yarn Fest, and it is called Eunice. Yes, E-W-E, Eunice. And it is the little sister of our Ashen Wensleydale that was such a big hit with the Last Word vest that we've been working on all summer. It has an amazing sheen to it. It's Wensleydale, so it's a very long staple length and will be very hard wearing, but it is fingering weight instead of the Aran weight that Ashen is. So it is a much lighter. If you are one of our southern friends and are looking for something wool that will be a little bit lighter for you than some of our heavier stuff, then this Eunice Wensleydale fingering will be exactly what you're looking for. This would make an excellent t-shirt. It would make an excellent shawl, a wrap, everything. This would be great for socks too, and especially if you wanted to make highly patterned or cabled socks, because you'll get a lot of stitch definition with this, and it will have that subtle sheen to it as well. So this I absolutely love, and it will be up on the website hopefully tonight. Give me a second. I'm trying here. So things have been a little bit crazy, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But Eunice is new to the line on the website at therossfarm.com, and you should be able to search it by EWENICE Eunice, our newest yarn. So we have been out and about for 2 solid weeks. It's just been crazy pants. Absolutely crazy pants. yeah, out and about. Started off with Nash Yarn Fest, and we went to Nashville. It was put on by Modern Daily Knitting, MDK. I was a little bit disappointed that I didn't get to meet Anne, and I've lost her name in my head, but I didn't get to meet the two ladies behind MDK. But we set up our beautiful double booth, and that is Kuya. She is my assistant Melinda's service dog. So she goes with us on the road, and she likes to have her picture taken. So she hopped right there in front of the booth so that she could see and be seen with everybody else. Um, it was really amazing. Melinda has been such a blessing to me, so much help. She is Boss Mare Shearing on all of the socials if you want to follow her. She is a 30 something female shearer, and she is really good about videoing her shearing expositions and doing a lot of demos. She'll be demoing, I believe, at Maryland Sheep and Wool again this year, and she is my sweet friend who comes and shears my weirdo sheep when something shows up, like this week. Um, so the first place we went was the Loveless Cafe for breakfast on our first morning before we did setup. We stopped at the Loveless Cafe. I'd heard wonderful things about their biscuits, so we had to go there. Of course, Melinda had pulled pork and eggs for breakfast, and she said it was amazing. I did have to have a little forkful because I am a big barbecue fan, and it really was. I had the Southern Sampler, which had their their country ham, their homemade sausage, and home smoked bacon. And you can see just a little scrap of the biscuits there in the side. They also make their own jams, and if you ask, they have blackberry, which they usually just bring you peach and strawberry, which were excellent. But the blackberry and the apple butter, we had this really, really wonderful waitress, and she's like, "Oh, you like the biscuits? You want to try something new?" And so she went and got us some blackberry and apple butter. So the Loveless was amazing. We got back to the booth, we got all set up, and then we had the most lovely women stop in who had made the Ashen Wensleydale vest, the Last Word vest by Thea Coleman, as part of the test knit. And they stopped in the booth to show us the vests that they knit. And I feel bad because in the photo, Busty Betty, our mannequin, is wearing the vest because it was like 85 degrees in the building. And I wore mine for about 7 minutes before I put it on Busty Betty because, man, I was hot. So this was our other friend who stopped by with her vest as well. Um, and that's the Ashen Wensleydale there in front of Betty. She has her arms wrapped around it. Busty Betty was a mannequin that Scooter Pie rescued from a dumpster behind Torrid very early on in our um, vending career. So, and he named her, of course, Busty Betty. She's a real Betty. And then I got to see all of my girlfriends, all of my SSK OMGs, and that's Malie and Lindsay and Joe and Bev and Linda. And they stopped by the booth, and they actually brought me one of those T-shirts, which are awesome. They say "Can't knitting buy" or something to that effect. And I just thought they were hysterical. And after they left, they had dropped off a goodie bag for me. And after they left, I pulled it out and I found that I too have one of those shirts now. So I will be wearing that to my upcoming knitting retreat with my guild here in Northeast Ohio. So that was a really, really fun surprise. I just love these girls. They are amazing, and they're great for me to bounce ideas off of and get a really honest response. And when we get together, we just laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. And I've missed getting together with them so much. So then we went, Melinda and I, of course, headed off to the Peg Leg Porker in memory of Scooter Pie. It was his very favorite. So we had to stop off at the Peg Leg Porker, and she had the most epic French fries. That is crinkle cut French fries covered with cheese sauce, covered with pulled pork, covered with barbecue sauce. And well, you can tell by the look on her face, it was epic. And she made that t-shirt actually. It says death before acrylic, which I think is hysterical because, you know, as a rare breed, 100% wool girly, acrylic will kill us all. So that was very, and that's what I got. I got the pulled pork with beans with burnt ends, and they have really, really good potato salad. So pro tip, order that and go to Nashville. So then, after the peg leg porker, so we vended on Saturday, and we decided to pull out Saturday night and try to get part of the way home before dark, well, before night. And it just so happened that they were having tornadoes. So we packed and we loaded and we got on the road in gale force winds and torrential downpours. And we drove just above Louisville on the first night. And then we drove the rest of the way home on Sunday. But on the way home, I had my very first experience at a Buc-ee's. And my heavens, their sliced brisket sandwich was the greatest thing I've ever put in my mouth from a truck stop. I was pleasantly surprised, nay, shocked at the deliciousness of the food at Buc-ee's. And I swear to you, I think Melinda did all of her Christmas shopping for 2025 while we were there because I had a bag of goodies and treats. I was supposed to bring beaver nuggets home to John so that he could try those. Everybody was raving about the beaver nuggets, so I brought those home for him. I had one little bag, but she had like, I don't know, I thought she was going to have to like bring a wagon to load everything into the truck. But you can get everything there. Like you can get a spring wardrobe at the Buc-ee's, and it all has beavers on it, and a wall of sodas and a wall of slushies and a fudge factory and a tortilla press, and like it's kind of crazy. And honest to God, I can't wait to go back because the brisket haunts me. It was so good. So then after we got home, I had great hopes for getting another episode recorded. And then I remembered that it was shearing day. So this past weekend, we had shearing day. And I got to snuggle some lambs. And I got to bag all of the fleeces. And I got to play in all of the wool. And it was wonderful. That is the front door of my barn at my farm in Pennsylvania. Drew runs the farm now. I'm here in Ohio. He's doing an excellent job. He's making especially cute lambs, which, you know, I just can't resist. Every time I snuggle one of those Shetland babies, like the one I'm holding here, I think of Scooter Pie and how he always had a Shetland lamb in his chin whiskers. And then I got to, that was two different Shetlands that had just been shorn, and they had 3 shearers working. And so 2 of them came out the door at the same time, and I turned around laughing, and Melinda snapped that photo of me with my treasures. So that was a lot, especially since the day before, Drew and I had taken a little trip to Mount Vernon. And I didn't get any pictures of that trip except as we were coming up along the Potomac. I did snap a picture of the Washington Memorial from the side of the Jeep as we zipped past it because it occurred to me at that moment that I hadn't taken any photos when we were at Mount Vernon. That's zipping past the Washington Monument on the other side of the river. I thought it was kind of pretty, and I really like willow trees, so it seemed like a thing. But we actually went down to Mount Vernon. There were some Hog Island sheep that were in a precarious situation, and we were able to get them up from where they were to Mount Vernon. And my friend Lisa down there held them for me until Drew and I could come and pick them up and get them back to the farm. So they came home. We also on that load brought a pair of Ossabaw Island hogs that went to live with our friends at a local farm that raises pigs. So they're very excited to get started with some rare breed hogs. And we're very excited to be the vehicle, literally and figuratively, to start the rare breeds journey. So the other thing I've got in the works with Mount Vernon is we are now planning our first ever Hog Island Sheep Breeders Association conference at Mount Vernon in July. And I'm super excited. It's going to be an awesome time. And I encourage all of you to come if you're even curious about raising Hog Island sheep. It's not just for people who raise hog islands, it's for people who would like to consider raising hog islands and learn more about them to see if they're a good fit. Because I'm a big believer that you got to find out if they're a good fit before you commit to bringing them home. Because with the genetics being as rare as they are and the census of animals being as low as it is, we just can't lose any. So I'm really excited to be planning that as well. Lisa and I have been working on that for the last month or so, and we're just about ready to launch registration. And it's going to include all sorts of awesome things behind the scenes with the Mount Vernon flock, a couple of really good speakers about the importance of registration and increasing the numbers of the hog islands. And then we're going to have amazing meals at the Mount Vernon Inn and a cocktail hour and hors d'oeuvre party at the distillery, George Washington's distillery, that they have rebuilt on the property. So I'm really excited about all the things we have in the works. I, of course, will be talking about their history and working with the fibers. And I believe Drew is also going to talk about working with the non-breed specific animals as, or non breed standard animals for heritage breed meat as well, because we have to have dual purpose or it's not sustainable. So I'm really excited to be working on that. It's been 2 weeks, man. It has been 2 weeks. It feels like it was 3.5 months and 20 minutes all at the same time. It was just so fast paced, but it all seems like so long ago. I can't. But the good news is, after 2 crazy weeks, spring is in season in Northeast Ohio. I am so excited that spring has sprung. When I came home off the road, I was greeted by my beautiful crocus-filled lawn. I don't know who or when or why, but somebody who owned our home in the past sprinkled crocus bulbs all over the yard. So as soon as spring starts to spring in Northeast Ohio, we have all of these beautiful little purple flowers popping up in the lawn. And it just tickles me. At home on the farm, we had little blue and white violets that would pop up pretty early on. And the crocuses are just like next level. So I am really excited for my little crocuses. And yesterday we took a little trip to Amish country, as I mentioned, and so I was able to pick up some of our last supply of apples from our favorite orchard. They close usually on April 1st. They'll close a little bit right around there this year. And then they don't open up again until July when the early transparents come in. So this was our last hurrah. This was our last chance to go down there and pick up some of their wonderful apples before they close for the season. Their work right now will start with pruning all the trees and getting everything fertilized and sprayed and ready to go, so that they will have a healthy apple crop to sell to us in July when they reopen. So that was really, really exciting. And we went to Walnut Creek Cheese, of course, and they have this terrible lunch meat that John loves. So we had to pick some of that up while we were there. And we popped into our favorite little thrift store, and I picked up some vintage antique, I don't know what to call it, but some tiny tablecloths. I think they're probably, they're square, they're very small square. So they're probably toppers for card tables. Um, but they are absolutely adorable, all hand embroidered. And one of the tablecloth actually had not only embroidery but some applique as well, and it was pink dogwoods. And pink dogwoods are like my personal favorite flower. Well, one of them. But I love pink dogwoods. My parents planted a pink dogwood at my childhood home when I was born, so I've always loved pink dogwoods. And so finding a little tablecloth with those on it was really an extra treat. And it was like $2, so I had to bring it home. You know. So on down the road, um, I'm going everywhere. On down the road, I'm literally going to be everywhere. I'm coming to wherever it is you are. One way or another, I'm going to get there. So next up is Maryland Sheep and Wool, which is coming up in just about a month. Just about a month. Terrifying, but true. So the first weekend in May is Maryland Sheep and Wool, and we will be in Barn 4, booths 12 and 14, as usual. We have a double in Barn 4, and that's right there on the Midway. Very exciting. Can't wait for that. And then after that, I'll be at Great Lakes Fiber Show, and I will actually be teaching fractal spinning at Great Lakes Fiber Show. I just signed the contract, so I can finally tell you about that. So if you're here in Northeast Ohio and you want to take a class with me and you're a spinner and you don't know how to do fractal, this is for you. Then after that, I may actually be in Maine. I may be teaching in Maine this year. I just had somebody reach out today about having me come to teach in Maine. So I would love to do that, and we'll see if we can work it out on our end. Then after that, mid to late June is the Mid-Atlantic Fiber Association, Fiber Arts Association, MAFA, their conference, hands-on. I am not teaching there. I am only vending, but I'm bringing all of it. So come and see us. If you're in Eastern Pennsylvania, we will be at Millersville University in Millersville, PA, June 26th through the 28th, I believe. And the market is open to the public, non-attendees. So you can come if you live there. Then I'll be in Houston in July for the Contemporary Handweavers Guild of Houston for their workshop that weekend. They have opened it up to all Texas guilds now. So if you are in Texas, you can actually come. So find out more about that from John at the Handweavers Guild of Houston. After that, in August, I will be at Michigan, teaching 6 classes and a double booth. Melinda will be holding it down with Kuya, so come see Melinda while I'm teaching, and I'll pop by around lunchtime and say hello. And then after that, I just signed the contract. I am so excited. I'm going to be teaching 6 classes at Flock Fiber Festival in Seattle in August, and I can't wait. That's going to be amazing. It seems like a really great new up-and-coming show, and they booked me for 3 solid days. So if you're in the Pacific Northwest, you can catch me there. We'll do Sheep and Wool School live. Then in September, I will be at Dallas-Fort Worth at DFW Fiber Festival, just vending this time, not teaching. I missed the deadline to submit the classes this year, so we just have a double. And then I believe early October, I will be at Lambtown in California, likely teaching there as well. We have pretty much firmed up that I will be judging the fleece show, which if you've never attended a fleece show, please come to mine in California. As we judge them, we talk about all of the things that they would be good for. We talk about all of the things the challenges the particular fleece has, if it has challenges, and workarounds for those, because there's really no fleece that needs to get left on the table. They all have a purpose, and we try to talk about all of that. So that's a lot. And then I've got even more after that. Then we go to Rhinebeck and New England and all of the things. So we're going to be on the road for the rest of the year, starting in about a month. And on that note, oh, I didn't even mention this, but this was a fun present from my friends at Nashville. They had these project bags handmade for all of us. Oh, and I forgot to mention this too. There was a mill there from Wales near where my friend lives, and I was able to pick up Hebridean and Castle Moret yarn for my classes for the fall that is actually spun in Wales. So that's in my fun bag. And on that note, I think that's about it for me for today. That was a lot to catch you up on because I've missed you for 2 weeks. And we will be back next week with a new breed. I don't know what it's going to be yet. If you have an idea, if you have a thought, if you have a request, please drop it in the comments. And don't forget to like and comment and subscribe so that other people can find us too. And until then, I'm Amy from the Ross Farm. This is Sheep and Wool School, and you can find us at therossfarm.com if you need to get your hands on some of that Eunice. We'll see you soon. Bye.